This is my first time I'm addressing Bangladeshi student or Bangladesh young scholars, inshallah ta'ala. Although I haven't visited Bangladesh before, but I have learned something, and this is my first time addressing young scholars like you. I hope to see you in the near future, scholars in your different fields, and that you contribute to the Muslim Ummah, inshallah. The topic I have been asked to speak is regarding the Holy Land, Al-Ard al-Muqaddasa, and the Islamic movement there. And I will try my best also to connect it with the Muslim Ummah and how intellectually we need to understand what is happening and how we can be beneficial to the development of our Muslim countries and to the Muslim Ummah. Maybe to start with, we need to realize this Zionist entity called Israel has been established by the Western power. It is not a Jewish project. It has been established to serve the Western interest in the region. And the beginning of establishing Israel in the region was by the British. It seems the British, they are the base or the source of all problems in the Muslim countries. Although I'm a British citizen now, but the British are the source of all problems. Yes. Especially with their colonial history. So the British felt to serve their own interest in the region, they need to establish a human barrier. And the human barrier they found is through the Jewish people. And they were successful. They were successful in this. It took them 148 years to establish the State of Israel. The planning process did not start just yesterday. The planning process took 148 years since 1800, and the establishment of the State of Israel was in 1948. So 148. Muslims are not patient. Muslims are not patient. The British were patient for their planning. The Muslims, unfortunately, we asked them to do a task. After 1 or 2 years, they said, Allah, Wallah, we feel tired. This is too much. How we can save Bangladesh? We can't. This is a dictatorship regime. And when we will get rid of it? They don't have patience. Muslims, they don't have patience. Why? For a very simple reason. We don't have planning. We don't have planning. We don't plan. We feel we need to cook, and then after 5 minutes, we need the delicious food to be provided to us. That cannot happen. If you need to have a delicious food, you need to prepare until you get this delicious food. But if you need to have a junk food, you go to McDonald's. Go to McDonald's, you eat junk food, then you become fat, and then you have a problem with your health. And you become brainwashed with Americanization, by way or another. So the British, it took them 148 years to establish the State of Israel, to serve the British interest in the region. Muslims, in particular Muslims who are concerned about the Holy Land, because you are talking about the land which has been mentioned in the Quran, the Holy Land. الأرض المباركة, الأرض المقدسة. And there is so many hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam talking about Baytul Maqdis. So this is a special land compared with other Muslim lands. And geopolitically, if you need to be dominant globally, you have to rule Baytul Maqdis and Al-Ard al-Muqaddasa and Al-Ard al-Mubarak. If you need to be a superpower, this land should be, must be, not should be, must be under your control. This is how we can learn from geopolitics. So the British, they felt, okay, we are a superpower, we need to dominate more, so the only way we need to dominate this land by establishing a buffer state. This is what the British say in their archive. I spent the 3 years in the British archive in London, and this is what they say: they need to establish a buffer state. And the buffer state, they find the best people to do this job is the Jewish people. So when this project has been done, the Muslims started thinking how we can resist this project. And the first man to think about this was Hassan al-Banna rahmatullahi alayhi. He was the man. He was the shaheed of the Holy Land. He was assassinated because of his involvement in the Holy Land. In 1928, he was 21 years old. He was 21 years old when he graduated from Dar al-Ulum. After 5 years, he established the Ikhwan, the Muslim Brothers. And what was in his agenda was the Holy Land. Yes, Egypt was very important for him, but he was thinking of the Holy Land. And the first branch of the Muslim Brothers established in the Holy Land. The first Muslim Ikhwan branch was established. The first delegation to be sent outside Egypt was sent to Bayt al-Maqdis and to Al-Masjid al-Aqsa al-Mubarak in 1935. 1935, less than 10 years of the establishment of the Ikhwan. And Hassan al-Banna, when Israel was formed, he sent his battalion. He sent the Muslim Brothers battalion from Egypt, from Transjordan, from Iraq, and from Syria. And what was the result? The assassination of Hassan al-Banna. I looked at the British archive, the British Foreign Office documents, and the file related to the assassination of Hassan al-Banna is classified still as top secret, and no one can look at it. Why? Because the Ikhwan accused Britain behind the assassination of Hassan al-Banna because of his involvement. So I wrote a book published in the UK in 1998 called The Muslim Brothers and the Palestinian Question, and I wrote these documents, and I said this make the accusation of the Muslim brother is a valid point because these documents is still unclassified. Israel was established in 1948. Israel was established in 1948, and the Muslim Brothers in Egypt has been arrested, and Murshid al-Am has been assassinated, and Israel became occupied nearly 75% of the Holy Land. And the Islamists were in prison. So they couldn't do much work. And the Ikhwan in Palestine, they start focusing basically at the beginning on tarbiyah, without involving militarily or involving in politics. And this was the agenda of Sheikh Ahmed Yassin. He started preparing the people. Before they are moving to politics and to military, he was moving in tarbiyah. And then, during the first intifada, sorry, I'm just jumping from one period to another. And then with the beginning of the Intifada, in 1987, Sheikh Ahmed Yassin with a group of Muslims in Palestine, they decided to establish Hamas as a branch of the Ikhwan, as a branch of the Muslim Brothers in Palestine, and they start their resisting the occupation through military means. Later on, the Hamas established its military wing. They have their political wing. They have their da'wah wing. They have their political wing, and they have also its military wing. Unfortunately or fortunately, sometimes you don't know what is good for you, what is bad for you. Sometimes we look at things bad, but it is good at the end of the day, until Israel reach a deal with the PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, and they reach a deal, a secret deal, then it's become a public in Oslo. In Oslo, that's led to the establishment of the Palestinian National Authority, and Yasser Arafat and the PLO returned back to Palestine. And that was a dilemma. That was a dilemma. If I need to make it very clear and very obvious, PLO, after Oslo Accord, become the Israeli agent. After Oslo Accord, the PLO, the Palestinian National Authority, become the Israeli agent for presenting the occupation as a 7-star occupation. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. The occupation put makeup to look like a beautiful occupation. And this is what Oslo Accord they have done. So the Palestinians have to suffer twice. To suffer from the Israeli occupation and the Palestinian National Authority dictatorship. So it become treble. And that was one of the problem a lot of Muslims is not aware of. That the PA, the Palestinian National Authority, headed previously with Yasser Arafat and now headed by Mahmoud Abbas Abu Mazen, they are there to serve the Israeli interest, not the Palestinian interest. And then you have Hamas and other Islamic groups representing the opposition, not the opposition is not the right way, resisting the occupation of this holy land. So we are talking about two projects to make it in short. We have two projects. One project is working with the Israelis, and one project is to resist the Israelis. So this is maybe in short, in a very, very short way to understand what is happening in Palestine nowadays. We have a very we have a tragedy now in Palestine. We have Palestine, we have Gaza, and we have the West Bank. Gaza, still, both Gaza and the West Bank under the Israeli occupation. Both are under the Israeli occupation. But Gaza is ruled by Hamas. And this is where the resistant movement is based and growing up. And we have the West Bank under Mahmoud Abbas and under the Palestinian National Authority, and they are there preventing any sort of resistance against the Israelis. And they are working together. They are working together hand by hand. And there is not one example, there is hundreds of examples happening on this ground. They tried very hard to push Hamas to lead to a civil war between Palestinians, but alhamdulillah, until now, this was not successful. This was not successful. With everything Mahmoud Abbas and the Palestinian National Authority they have been doing, they haven't been successful in achieving. They have arrested so many leaders of Hamas. Just 2 days ago, a member of Palestinian parliament has been arrested by the Palestinian National Authority. He's an academician, but at the same time, Dr. Ibrahim Abu Salam, just been arrested. And this is showing how tension the relationship. Gaza is under siege for 11 or 12 years. Siege from the Arabs before it's siege from the Israelis, especially the Egyptian. After Sisi, his military coup in Egypt, things become very, very tight with Gaza. But it's not only Egypt, but also a lot of Arabs, including the Saudis and the Emiratis. Unfortunately, the Saudis and the Emiratis, they are playing a dirty job regarding what is happening in Gaza and what is happening in the West Bank, especially now with this what we call the deal century, to solve or to resolve or to finish the Palestinian problem, which the Americans and the Israelis are working, and the champion of this is the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman. He's now putting all the pressure on the Palestinians to accept this deal. What is this deal? What is this deal? Khalas, Palestinians, give up. Khalas. This is the land, according to Mohammed bin Salman, this is the Jewish land. Allahu Akbar. This is the Jewish land. Leave it to them. Even now, you hear in their media, you listen to their media, even someone saying, Wallahi, this was given to the Jews according to the Quran. According to Quran. Allahu Akbar. Yani, you see how things is upside down, like maqluba? Huh? This is upside down. Huh? What they are saying? This is not land for Muslims. Who said this? This was a mistake. This is the land was given to the Jew. I went into to understand this. It says, Wallahi, there is a verse in Surah Al-Ma'idah. Sorry, this is a side issue, but to show you how things is moving on this direction. They said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Ma'idah said to the son of Israel, ادخلوا الأرض المقدسة التي كتب الله لكم. Ya salam. What is the verse saying? Enter al-Ard al-Muqaddasa, which Allah has been giving to you, written to you. ادخلوا الأرض المقدسة التي كتب الله لكم. تمام? Full stop. This is light. This is light. The verse in the Quran, لا تقربوا الصلاة. Yes. لا تقربوا الصلاة. Do you know what is لا تقربوا الصلاة? Don't pray. Don't come near praying. Praying is, don't come near praying. And then, wallah, some Muslims in the UK said, wallah, in the Quran it says don't pray. Allah. Don't pray. He said, wallah, in the Quran. This is the same. لا تقربوا الصلاة. I said to him, can you continue? Can you continue? He said, I don't know. I said, tamam, bring Quran, open it. لا تقربوا الصلاة وأنتم سكارى. I know this story. I said to this, come, open the Quran. ادخلوا الأرض المقدسة التي كتب الله لكم ولا ترتدوا على أدباركم فتنقلبوا خاسرين. قالوا لن ندخلها. What they said? We will not enter it. We will not. They refused. لن ندخلها ما داموا فيها. As far as they still living there, we will not enter there. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said? قال فإنها محرمة عليكم. Allah. It is forbidden for you. قال فإنها محرمة عليكم. And now we have Saudi scholars appear on TV and saying, والله in the Quran it says in Surah Al-Ma'idah ادخلوا الأرض المقدسة التي كتب الله لكم. Why? To please this young boy, Muhammad bin Salman. And Muhammad bin Salman is, I have done my research, but this is something else. He is willing to do anything for the sake of to become the next king in Saudi Arabia. He's willing to do anything. The Israelis, if they ask him to take your dishdasha, he will take his dishdasha and walk without dishdasha on the street. So what is the problem? What is the problem? The problem is with the Muslim mind. This is my second topic we agreed to talk about, so I need to connect the two together. The problem is not with the occupation of the Muslim land. A Muslim land can be under occupation. Can. Istanbul was under occupation for 5 years. A lot of Muslims' land can be under occupation. No problem. But the problem is when the Muslim mind is under occupation. If the Muslim mind under occupation, don't expect a Muslim land to be liberated. If the Bengali mind is under occupation, I don't expect you to liberate your land from the dictatorship. I don't. The main issue is the Muslim mind. The Muslim mind, unfortunately, in the Muslim countries, for 100 years, is under occupation. My name is Abdul Fattah, but when I talk to you like John or George. You expect from my name, Abdul Fattah, I'm a Muslim. So you expect to listen from me something related to Islam. But in reality, you don't. In reality, you don't. Our Muslim brain has been sold. Just to ease this topic. Someone did not like his brain. Huh? Someone did not like his brain. So he decided to buy a new brain. Where to buy a brain? He went to the kassab, to the butcher. He need to buy a new brain. He went there and he noticed on the vitrine there was 3 brains. There was a British brain, American brain, and a Muslim brain. Oh, good choice. Very good choice. But he was shocked to see the price. The British brain, 100 sterling pound. The American brain, 1,000 sterling pound. The Muslim brain is 1 million sterling pound. Allah! How come? MashaAllah! Yeah, he was surprised. He was shocked. The Americans dominating, ruling the words. And then the American prince is only 1,000, very cheap, I can't buy it. The British, British, were occupied Bangladesh, occupied Palestine, occupied Egypt. Just 100? Allahu Akbar. He asked the butcher, he said, the British, they have served, khalas, finish. They were a superpower in the past. Now khalas. America now, yeah, they are a superpower and they are nearly to finish. But the Muslim brain is a brand new, did not use the tool. Did not use the tool. It is very painful. It is, but this is the reality. We don't use our brain. Our brain, yani, not to use our brain, this is a complementary to the Muslim mind. Our brain is under occupation. Under Western occupation, we go to study in Western country and we return back brainwashed. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Brainwashed. I worked in the British Academia for 35 years. For 35 years, we have a lot of Muslims come to us. When they graduate, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Nothing. When I have done my PhD a long time ago, I get it in 1986. The head of department, after I get the Viva and I passed, he said, Abdul Fattah, we need to celebrate. I said, oh, by all means. I can provide you kunafa, baklava, I can have some Palestinian drink like soos. This is something local tradition. He said, no. We need red wine. I said to him, can you say it again? This is the head of department. He said, red wine. He noticed, I'm shocked. What he said to me? He said, Abdul Fattah, do you know Abu Hanifa? I said, yes, I know. I'm not a theologian. I'm not a scholar in Islamic studies, but I know Abu Hanifa. He said, Abu Hanifa said, a little bit of red wine is halal. He tried to convince me by Abu Hanifa that a little, very nice. Wallah, very nice. And he tried to convince me. I said to him, but I know the professors of Abu Hanifa. I know the professor of Abu Hanifa, the teacher of Abu Hanifa. He said, it's haram. He said, who is the teacher of Abu Hanifa? I said, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Do you know what he said to me? He said, Abdul Fattah, unfortunately, after 4 years of studying with us, we couldn't brainwash your brain. You see, this is the problem. They need Muslim intellectual, they need Bengali intellectual, they need Pakistani intellectual, they need Indian Muslim intellectual, but they need Muslim intellectual according to their standard. Yes. Not a scholar who can fight the occupation, who can fight the British interest and the American interest and all other interests in the region. They are not willing to accept this. And this is the job of you. This is, I'm coming to you now. I will not leave you alone. This is where we need scholars in social sciences. We don't need scholars anymore in medicine and science and engineering. Yes, what we have is good. But what we are lacking in Muslim countries, and they don't do the statistic in Bangladesh, but general statistic in Muslim countries, we don't have scholars in social sciences. Social sciences is the field which can liberate the Muslim minds. I will tell you in my field, in international relations. I asked this question in Turkey. How many Turkish professors in international relations? Less than 5. I'm talking about the big Muslim countries. How many professors of international relations in Egypt, which is more than, in the Arab world, more than 100 million? Less than 5. I don't know in Bangladesh how many professors in international relations. Huh? Yok. I went to Malaysia because I'm familiar with Malaysia. Same. Indonesia. Same. And then we need Muslim to think how to liberate the Muslim lands. And we don't have scholars in international relations. How come? How come we can liberate something? How we can do something which we don't have the basic? I talked about the professors, leave professors. How many scholars in international relations? This is higher than professors. Professors is a title. You're very easy to gain, by the way. It's not difficult if you work very hard. If you go very hard, you work very hard, you publish some good material, you become a professor. It's just a time. Just a time. But the question, we have higher than professor, scholars. How many theories we have in social sciences? How many Muslim scholars, Muslim theories in social sciences? We don't. We don't. So how we can analyze, how we can understand international, how we can liberate Baytul Maqdis, how we can fight against the dictatorship in Bangladesh, how we can fight against the occupation in Egypt, how we can fight against what is happening in the Muslim countries. We don't have the brain. And the brain is the best gift Allah gives to any human. This is the best gift. What is the difference between Muslim student and Western student? Wallah, there is no much difference. Wallahi, you have a brain and they have a brain. But they use their brain and we don't use our brain. We don't use our brain. My time is over. I have half an hour, which I covered my half an hour. I hope I have touched upon some important points. Just for you to think. If you need, this will be my final remarks to you. If you need to serve your country, and I'm sure you are willing to serve your country. If you are willing to serve, because you can't serve your ummah if you don't serve your home. You can't. I will not expect you to serve the ummah if you don't serve your home. I don't expect from you to be a good leader if you are not good leader in your house. If you have a family and you can't manage your family, you have a wife and you have a daughter and you have sons and you have brothers and you have sisters and you don't know how to manage them, I don't expect you to manage the whole of the ummah. So the starting point, you start within your home. And your home here is your country. If you would like to serve your country and to save your country from the dictatorship regime, liberate your brain. This is my sincere advice after 33 years being in academia. Liberate your brain. Secondly, use your brain. Two things. Liberate your brain, and secondly, use your brain for the benefit of your home and your own. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.